Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Sunday morning show here on Stacking the Box. I am Matt Verderame. He is Iain MacMillan. It is week 8, which, of course, is well underway. Already had the Thursday night game between Baltimore and Tampa Bay. And now we have this thing going on in London. I don't know if you'd call it a game, but it is football. It's being played, and it does count toward the standings. And so right now, if you're not watching that game, Denver is leading Jacksonville 14-10 in a game that might cause war. So, Iain, how are you on this lovely Sunday morning?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I took the under in this London game, so I'm doing well. It's the one time that it makes it enjoyable to watch a bad game is when you have money on it being exactly that.
These teams are almost as bad as Denver's uniforms today, which I'm not sure what's going on. Denver, for those who aren't watching the game, wearing their white road tops, but then also their home blue and orange pants, and nothing matches about any of it. It is very bizarre. But in any event, I digress. But this game, my God, both these teams are not good.
No.
All right. I mean, but really, remember when Jacksonville was, and we'll get into the games here in a second. We got a bunch to break down, of course. Remember when Jacksonville, when they were 2-1, and everybody, including us, were like, oh, a pretty interesting team, pretty frisky, might be the best team in the division. Yeah, they haven't won since. That was over a month ago. And Denver, I think everybody felt like didn't really know good, bad, middle of the pack. Like nobody saw this coming. So this has been this has not played out well for either side here as we're in week 8.
Well, let me ask you this because I tweeted this out earlier. Is Trevor Lawrence good?
No, he's not good.
It's his second year now, and I feel like people still think he's going to end up being the guy that we thought he was going to be, but at some point you have to start questioning him because now, like I said, halfway through his second year, he's had maybe flashes where he's looked good, but overall,
right, he's
not good.
He's definitely better, but that's relative. He was maybe the worst quarterback in the league last year. So in terms of his numbers, I think right now, could you get me to where if you said to me in 3 years, could he be Ryan Tannehill? I mean, yeah, maybe the ceiling's like Kirk Cousins, but you didn't draft him number 1 overall to be Kirk Cousins.
No, he was supposed to be like the next Peyton Manning coming into the league. He's not even close. He's not that.
Yeah, and I do wonder. Part of me does wonder, how much of that was just he was set back by the absolute train wreck that we saw.
Right.
By the way, just an all-time. Did you just see the last play of this game, the third down throw?
I'm watching it right now. My stream's a little bit behind you.
Look at this.
Well,
two guys wide open, 60 yards down the field next to each other, and he threw it right between them. Oh my God. First of all, nice coverage by Jacksonville, who two guys got just behind everybody, and he missed them both. Okay. Well, and after the play, it's just absolutely hammered. Pretty sure that was late, but not called. All right, let's get into these other games because this game is going to drive everybody to drink. Denver that falls up with a mediocre punt at best, and Jacksonville's taking over on the other side of the 50. Okay, let's get into it. Bears, Cowboys. We're going to start off there at Jerry World. The Cowboys, the line is currently 10. It had been 10.5 a lot of the week. The total is 42.5. And of course, weather doesn't matter indoors at Dallas. So, Iain, which side are you taking here?
I'm going to take the Bears on this one. I got the Bears actually before Monday Night Football, so I got them at 10.5. So I got a good number in this game.
Nice.
I don't think the Bears are as bad as a lot of people are saying, and that was kind of my feeling heading into Monday night against the Patriots. I was on them to cover in that game too. I mean, they're not a great football team, but they're around average in a lot of different categories. And for me to lay double-digit points on a team like the Cowboys in this spot, I need the team they're playing against to be one of a bottom 5, at least bottom 10 team in the NFL. And the Bears aren't good, but they aren't that bad. They're like I said, a lot of key metrics. They're around middle of the pack. So. I am going to take the Bears to cover in this one, but I will be rooting for the Cowboys to win because I'm in a survivor pool right now. 1,200 people it started with. It's down to 21 for $25,000. So Cowboys are my survivor pick this week, but I think the Bears cover. So I kind of need to thread the needle here.
Okay. All right. I like it. I took the under. I went under 42.5. I just think Dallas's offense is quietly not good.
Right.
And Chicago's offense is loudly not good. Also, both these teams, I believe, will run the ball a lot in this game. And so I think you're going to shorten the game, fewer possessions. I think it's a game where it's like 20-17, 23-17. I like your pick of the Bears covering. If I was going to go one way or the other on the line, I would have gone that way. My only concern is if it becomes a game where Justin Fields does have to throw, like does it turn into a game where he throws a pick? So I said, I'll take the under. It's a low line. Like I feel a little bit nervous about taking the under, but at the same point, or I should say a low total. But at the same point, I don't think either one of these teams can score points.
Yeah, I mean, last week against the Lions, the final score wasn't really the true story of that game because it was kind of late scores. But at halftime, the Cowboys were down 6-3 against the Lions. So, yeah, I got some question marks about this offense. We'll see.
All right, let's get rolling into another game. Might be the most interesting 1:00 game there is. Another week of bad games in the 1:00 hour. The Saints at home in the Caesars Superdome with the Las Vegas Raiders coming to town. The Raiders, it's been pretty much a steady spread all week, laying 1.5. The total 48.5 as we sit here live. It's moved up a little bit over the course of the week. Where do you fall on Saints Raiders?
Yeah, I'm on the over. I got it at the opening total, 47.5, so a point lower than where it's at right now. But I think both of these teams are just kind of built for the over. Offensively, they're 5th and 7th in yards per play, 3rd and 8th in points per play. Neither defense has been great, especially the Saints, which is surprising. I expected a lot more from the Saints defense this season, but 18th and 23rd in opponent yards per play. 6th and 15th in red zone offense, 13th and 30th in red zone defense. So both teams are just kind of built to score points here. And I know Andy Dalton kind of gets a lot of flack, but he does all right. But when he messes up, it's an interception. And like last week against the Cardinals, an interception that gets returned for a touchdown back-to-back. So I don't care who scores the points. If he wants to throw a couple more pick sixes, that's only going to help this bet. So I have no idea where to go on the side because I think both teams are actually kind of similar. So I'm just going to root for points.
Fair. If I was going total here, I'd be with you because I think it probably does hit the over. By the way, speaking of going over, Jacksonville just went over. Touchdown in London, 3:54 to go. Extra point is pending. Jacksonville now leading 16-14, 3:54 left. I'm going with the Raiders to cover the spread here. I think the Raiders are the better team. Look, and I was somebody who early in the year, I picked the Saints to make the playoffs. I picked them to win 10 or 11 games. I can't remember which, but I know I had them in the playoffs. They're just dreadful at quarterback. I mean, whether it's Winston or Dalton, it's been one mistake after the next. And you're right, actually. Dalton's like stats, if you don't look at the interceptions, not bad.
Right.
But then you look at the interceptions. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You got to kind of factor that in. He has not been good. The Raiders, I think, are better than their record. The Raiders are 2-4. They barely lost to the Chargers. They barely lost to the Chiefs at Arrowhead. They lost with a 2-point conversion to tie in Tennessee. They didn't get it. And then they lost a crazy game to the Cardinals. Now, listen, woulda, coulda, shoulda. They lost. But I think they're a better team than their record indicates. They played okay last week. They pulled away in the fourth against Houston. I'm riding with the Raiders here to cover the 1.5. I do think it's a close game. I think it's like a field goal game. But I'll take who I think is the better quarterback, the better weapons. I'll take the Raiders. By the way, the extra point up and good in England is 17-14. And now here comes Russell Wilson and his Wolverine blood to try to pull this one out of the fire.
What do you think about the story about him doing high knees in the plane?
He's beyond embarrassing. Like I honestly, man, it's to the point. I can't believe somebody didn't stand up and just throw him.
Yeah,
and try to force him out of the plane. I mean, you ever? What's the longest flight you've ever been on?
About 6-7 hours to California.
Okay. I mean, if somebody was doing high knees up and down the aisle, how long would it have taken you to get up and actually try to physically assault that person?
Yeah, not long. Especially overnight when everyone's trying to sleep.
I mean, 4 hours of this guy just up and down. I mean, hit him with a seatbelt. At some point, you think at some point somebody would have stood up and done something. All right. Let's go to the NFC South, a division nobody wants to win, but your Falcons
That's right.
At home against the all of a sudden frisky Panthers. Falcons laying 4 total, 41.5. You believe in your Falcons? Oh, all right. Or you've been up and down on your Falcons this year. You believe in them this week?
Yeah, I believe in them. Yeah, I think this is a game I always talk about because I lock these bets in so early. A lot of the time, well, sometimes I get good numbers, sometimes I get bad numbers. I got a terrible number here. I got Falcons -6, so I need them to win big here. I thought the line was going to get up to a touchdown. The Panthers won this past week against the Buccaneers. Obviously, a huge upset, but let's make no mistake about it. This Panthers team stinks. PJ Walker.
They do stink.
They got rid of their best player. Their defense isn't bad, though, which does make me a little bit nervous because the Falcons' defense is one of the worst in the NFL. But, don't start thinking the Panthers are a half-decent team because they upset the Bucs last week. I think that was more about the Bucs being terrible than the Panthers being a good team. So I like what the Falcons are doing. They're running the ball. They're coached well. I like what Arthur Smith is doing. They have some talent on offense. They're not asking Marcus Mariota to do too much. I think they win this game, and they'll be in sole possession of first place in the division.
I think they win it, too. By the way, a 49-yard bomb to start off this drive, Wilson to Hamler. So all of a sudden, the Broncos already in field goal range. I got to give it to Wilson. That might be the best throw he's made all season. Hamler had to step on the guy. But that'd be a pretty good throw, and he hit him. So they're already inside the 35, I believe it is. Kudos to Wilson. Wilson has been brutal this year. That was a really nice throw. All right. I am taking Carolina here. I got Carolina at plus 4.5. Now, here's the reality of it. I think they're going to backdoor cover this thing. I think the Falcons are going to win the game.
I'll take it.
I'm with you that I think Carolina's defense is actually halfway decent, which is why I think this game stays reasonably close. I think this game is one of these things. Oh, my God. Sutton just had a ball. If he caught it, he might have scored it. He just dropped it. So I think it's one of those things where it's like 23-14, and then the Panthers just slap a touchdown on it late. But I like Atlanta to win and become first place Atlanta because Tampa Bay is a train wreck.
They stink.
Dude, it's unbelievable how bad they are. Oh, my God. It is impossible how bad they are. Atlanta really could win the division. It's not even one of those things where you're like, they won't. No, they could. They really could. I mean, that's where we're sitting at this point. So I'm with you in Atlanta. I think they win. I just think they don't cover the spread. You do, so we differ there in terms of betting. All right, let's go to the Battle of Pennsylvania, if it is even a battle. Philadelphia at home, minus 520 on the home money line against Pittsburgh, who's plus 400 if you want to go that route. The Eagles, of course, the only undefeated team in the league, coming off the bye, laying 10.5, totals 42.5. I'll kick us off here. I went with the big number. I'll take Philly to cover at 10.5. I don't think the Steelers can score a point. They just have been brutal. Pickett can't stop throwing picks. He's thrown 7 interceptions already. The guy's only started 2 games and played in 3. He has not been good. So I don't see him hanging in this game. And I think it's a game where he's going to have to throw the ball a lot. I don't think he's going to do it successfully. So give me the Eagles. I can see this game being like 30-13, which is right around the number. So I'm not going to take the number. I'm going to take the Eagles to cover the big spread.
Yeah, me too. I talked earlier about the Bears and the Cowboys and how for me to lay double-digit spread, I needed to be one of the best teams in the NFL against one of the worst teams in the NFL. That is what we have here. So I will take the Eagles. I got them at minus 10. The Steelers ranked dead last in the NFL in yards per play. They're averaging 4.8 yards per snap. Their offense is atrocious. I don't know if it's play calling. I feel like I bring this up every time we talk about the Steelers. I don't know if it's quarterback play. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know what's going on. So it has to something has to do with their offensive line too, because they can't run the ball either. And that's actually one thing that's actually a little bit concerning about Philadelphia, and something to watch in the coming weeks is that their defense hasn't stopped the run well this year at all, 28th in opponent yards per carry. But this week, the Steelers can't run the ball themselves. So, they don't even have the capability to attack the Eagles' defense where they're weak. It's a bad matchup skill-wise. It's a bad matchup stylistically. I think, like I said, the offensive play calling has been bad for Philadelphia. Now they have to go up against one of the better defenses where their only weakness is they can't stop the run, but the Steelers can't run the ball. So, I'm laying the points of the Eagles.
Yeah, I have to go that way. If the Steelers had any quarterback, I'd be like, all right, 10.5 is a lot of points.
Right.
I mean, Pickett just can't stop throwing interceptions. Every time I look up, he throws another one. So I mean, why would I go with Pickett to beat the Eagles or even come close to beating the Eagles? I will not. I refuse to do it. All right. Let's move to the Lions at home against the Dolphins, who come in 4-3. Of course, the Lions 1-5 after losing to Dallas last weekend. Miami beat Pittsburgh. The aforementioned Kenny Pickett throwing 3 interceptions in that game, 2 at the end of the fourth quarter. Miami on the road, but laying 4 points, and it's a big total, the biggest of the week, 51.5. You and I, Ian, we're on the same page here. What do you got?
Yeah, I keep betting the over in Dolphins games, and it keeps losing. I don't know why, because you look at their numbers, and the over should be hitting because their offense is great, their defense stinks. But even last Sunday night against the Steelers last week, it was well on its way at halftime, and then they scored 0 points in the second half. So I'm going to die on this hill. I will take the over in another game involving the Dolphins, and now this time they take on another team that's built for the over. These two teams are ranked 4th and 6th in yards per play, 22nd and 32nd in opponent yards per play. Neither defenses can stop their opponents in the red zone either, 28th, 29th in opponent touchdown scoring percentage. So hopefully no field goals, all touchdowns, a lot of points, and the over is going to hit.
All right. I'm taking the over too. I'm with you.
Let's go.
I'm with you. I got it at 51.5, so I'm a point higher than you, but the Lions are great at home offensively. Yes. Great at home. Like literally, I think averaging like 40 points a game at home. So I think this game does get over. By the way, I almost said in Denver. In London here, it's a 2nd and 1 at the 9 with $1:54 to go. So we are coming down to it. Denver at bare minimum ought to tie this game. And then Jacksonville would have a shot to go the other way. It is pouring in England. All 3 timeouts for both teams. So should be interesting. I took the over as well. Like I said, I think it's going to be a game where it's like 30-26. I mean, I just think there's a lot of points. I also could see Detroit winning this game. I wouldn't pick them to win this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game. They've been in these games at home. They like fall apart.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact number here, but so far this season, Lions games at home have had like an average total, like finishing total of like 73 points or something. Like points are coming in bunches in Detroit.
No, they're ridiculous. All right, by the way, 1st and goal for Denver at the 2, at the 3. Murray just hurdled the guy. He's inside the 5. All right, Minnesota at home taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Minnesota off the bye, 5-1. Arizona 3-4 off a Thursday night win. So both teams coming in with a lot of rest in this game. Minnesota laying 3.5 points. Total 48.5. And Ian, you like the Cardinals in this game?
Yeah, this is my upset pick of the week here. This is kind of a fade of the Vikings more than anything else because the Vikings 5-1, but they're not nearly as good as the record. 26th in net yards per play, and it's largely because of their defense. 30th in opponent yards per play, dead last in opponent yards per pass attempt. They can't stop the pass. So I'm not going to back Kyler Murray to perform well against a lot of teams, but this is one team that I think he can do well, especially with DeAndre Hopkins back in the lineup. Vikings offense, despite kind of winning games and scoring points as the Broncos score a touchdown.
Yes, touchdown. Murray.
Their offense has still kind of only been middle of the pack in terms of just moving the ball down the field here. So this is kind of a fade of the Vikings more than anything else. I got the Cardinals when it first opened, so a little bit better than what you can get them at now. But I think the Cardinals might win this game outright.
I too am fading Minnesota here. I'm not fading them all the way to the extent you are, but I'm taking Arizona to cover the spread here. Got them at +3.5. I think this is a close game. Minnesota plays nothing but close games when they win games. So I think it's close. I think it's a field goal either way. Either way, I'm covering in this regard. I don't think the Cardinals are good, but I also think the Vikings are nowhere near as good as 5-1. I think they're like a 500 level team. So, do you believe in Kyler? Do you believe in Kirk? Do you believe in Kingsbury? Do you believe in O'Connell? I don't believe in any of them. And so I'm taking the points. I'm taking the points. I think it's a very good close game. By the way, here as we have a minute, as we're a little bit ahead on the rundown. So Denver scores, gets the extra points. It's 21-17. Okay, Murray went in. Russ gave us a really big celebration after they scored, so that's exciting. Set the scene for you. A minute 43 to go in the game. Jacksonville has 2 timeouts. Had to use one there at the end of the Broncos drive to hold on to time. So Jacksonville gets the ball. Obviously has to get a touchdown. Got 103 seconds to do it. We'll see the kickoff here in a second. But right now, Denver up 21-17. This game has a lot of implications in the sense of, look, I think both these teams stink, and neither one of them is going anywhere near a playoff spot. But if Denver loses this game, this might be it for Nathaniel Hackett, according to multiple reports. If you are someone who's not a fan of Denver, you might want Denver almost to win this game so Nathaniel Hackett sticks around for the duration of the season. If Jacksonville loses, do they start trading off parts here? I mean, a guy like a Josh Allen, do they trade him? I don't know, but stands to reason it might be the case, right? I mean, it stands to reason that if Jacksonville's 2-6, you start trading off some parts. By the way, it was a touchback. So we're looking at now Jacksonville's going to have to go with 2 timeouts, and Lawrence, who has been hideous all afternoon, they're going to go 75 yards against what is a very good Denver defense. And it starts out with him throwing an interception, and the game's over. Okay. There we go.
What?
Yeah.
It wasn't pick 6, though, was it? Don't tell me it was a pick 6. Your broadcast is ahead of mine.
I don't know. I think he was just down. He ran into the end zone.
Or are they going to kick a field goal? Okay, the reason why I'm asking, because now all of a sudden my under bet is in big time danger very quickly.
What is the total?
I got to the 40, so I need them to not kick a field goal here, and I don't think they can take knees.
They cannot because Jacksonville's 2 timeouts left.
This might be so maybe they get a first down and take knees after that. I don't know, but I don't like this.
I'll tell you, my God, Lawrence. I mean, that is one of the worst throws. Like, there was no chance whatsoever that ball gets to Christian Kirk. 0. Throws it right to him. Throws it right to the corner.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good.
He's not good.
I think we can almost officially say that.
Oh my God. It was one of those balls, like the second he started to wind up and throw it, you're like, don't throw it. Don't throw it right to him. Right to him. Oh my God. It's a brutal. And by the way, earlier, if you didn't see this game, he threw a pick at the 1-yard line. That was one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see in your life. Oh, that's bad football. That is bad football. All right. Let's keep it rolling here as Ian sweats out a bet something fierce right now. You better hope for a first down, sir.
I think that's the only way I can win is a first down and then kneels, right?
Well, they just ran for no yards. All right. Let's get to an AFC East matchup that actually is really interesting. The Jets at home, Jets, and yet at 5-2, the underdog to New England, who's on a short week after losing to the Bears at home on Monday Night Football. New England is favored by a field goal. The total 39.5. Very little wind at the Meadowlands. It's always something to note. Where do you fall on Pat's Jets?
Yeah, speaking of unders, this is another under that I'm on that hopefully isn't going to rip the heart out of my chest like this one's going to. I got under 41.5 in this one. I think the Jets losing their offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker's a big hit to their offense, but really the reason why Jets have been winning these games is because of their defense. Their defense has been actually very good so far this season. It hasn't played a ton of very good offenses, but still they've kind of got the job done, 6th in opponent yards per play. And I have no faith in the Patriots offense either. I don't know what's going on in the quarterback room. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the under and hope both defenses show up and the offenses don't.
Okay, that's totally fair. By the way, your under bet hanging out by a thread here is Denver's got 3rd and 5. That's right. It's not good. It's not good for you. And now at this point, this might be the most interesting thing happening this morning. I will give you. I have New England minus 2.5. I think the Jets are actually like a decent team defensively. They're very good. Yes. I like the rookie class. Breece Hall going out for the year is a killer. I just do not believe in Zach Wilson against Belichick at all, ever.
Well,
this is the kind of game where they could bait him into like 4 interceptions. I am terrified of him, which is why I did not take the Jets. Also, I know the Pats are not good. I've said that all year. Belichick has a way of just finding ways to keep his team alive, and they've got to win this game. So I'm riding with the Pats. I'm nervous about it. I'll be very honest with you. Nervous about it, but I'm taking the Pats. As by the way, your under bet is going to now face a field goal attempt. It is 4th and an inch.
Oh, just go for it, guys.
Do they go for it? That's the question.
You can finish the game.
You should. You should go for it.
Trust it. Even if you don't get it, your defense is going to shut them down. Because even if it's a field goal, it's a touchdown. You're giving the other team.
I am 100% with you.
It's inches.
I'm with you, but does Hackett have the guts? Oh God.
Just sneak it with Russell Wilson. I think he's going for it.
I think he is. I think you're going to get very lucky. I think you're going to get very lucky, sir.
Especially what happened to him early in the season. You have to go for
it. I would die of laughter if he decides to kick this thing. But so far, I think you're going to luck out here. Which, man, you are. I mean, that
35 seconds to score a touchdown still with that defense.
I'm 100% with you, man. I'm 100% with you. I think the smart decision is to just sneak the ball here. But God, I would pay good money to see them kick this and have it blocked. I would do it. Jeez. Oh, God. It would just be the coup de grace for this team the way they've played all year long. All right. Let's go to the 4 o'clock slate. There's 4 games. Why this is a 4 o'clock game, I have no idea. Houston at home. The 1-win Houston Texans taking on Tennessee, and the Titans favored by a point. 38.5 to total. Good God, that game's brutal. Now, do you like the Texans or do you like the Titans here in this clash in the AFC South? By the way, they snuck it and they got it. There should have clearly been a penalty on Denver, and I don't think they called it. So you might get really, really lucky. You are going to get really lucky. Their fullback was blatantly moving toward the line of scrimmage. Should have been an illegal motion penalty. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. 21-17 the final. Denver wins in London.
Thank God. That would have stung.
Wow. All right. It's all over. And if England declares war after that game, I understand. All right. So what do you got? You got Tennessee, you got Houston.
I got Houston. This is the one I think I got the best line on all week because it opened at -4. So I took Texans +4. So I'm on the same side of the Sharps. The Sharps are all pounding Houston here. The Titans, I hate the Titans because it's the same team from last year. They stink, but they keep winning, and I keep betting against them and keep losing, and it pisses me off. This team's not good. They're still dead last in the NFL in net yards per play. I'm not laying points on a team on the road in a divisional matchup when you're dead last in net yards per play. I'm not doing it. I will take the points, and I will probably once again lose money betting against the Titans. But I hate them because they shouldn't be winning games, and they keep winning games.
Well, here, you know what? I'll make you feel better. Tannehill is not playing in this game. It's Malik Willis. Okay? And guess what? Before that news came out, I already put down my bets. Yeah, I got Houston win the game outright.
All right. I
got Houston money line, baby. Money line. The Titans are not good. Like, nothing about them's good.
No.
Houston's also not good. But Houston's offense is actually better. So I am going to go with the Texans to win the game. And Malik Willis, while I am a big fan of his talent, it is his first start. And I don't know what the hell to expect out of him in his first start. So I'm rolling with the Houston Texans to get their second win of the year. By the way, there was a brief review at the end of that London game. I was going to just have an absolute stroke if they had called that a non-first down Jacksonville. But they did not. So your bet is officially safe now. Okay. So, yeah, I got Houston. I think Houston's going to find a way to win the game. I think both these teams stink. I really do.
The 2 worst teams in the NFL.
They're bad, man. They're really bad. So, by the way, for all the Chiefs fans in the crowd, here's a fun little fact for you. Houston, Tennessee, and the 2 teams you just watched play a game in London, that's half the Chiefs' remaining schedule. Okay. So, good news for Kansas City. 5 out of the 10 games. There it is. All right. Let's keep the train going here. Let's go to the 425 games. That Houston game, the only 405 game. So if you need to go to the bathroom, get chips, get more drinks, that's the time to do it, 405. We actually, of the 425 games, 2 of the 3 are actually like legitimately interesting. Seattle at home at 4-3, coming off a big win over the Chargers. Which I called, by the way. 4-3 against the 6-1 New York Giants, rain in the forecast in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle laying a field goal. 44.5 is the total up at Lumen Field. We, sir, are on opposite sides. I will start here. So,
you're not going to take the Giants.
Oh, you're damn right I'm going to take the Giants. That's right. That's right. Oh, your lock of the week last week. How'd that go? Jacksonville, huh? Smug.
Yeah, you know what my lock of the week is this week?
Seattle?
Seattle.
You got nothing but hate for the Giants. Nothing but hate. Listen, you know what? Here's my thing with the Giants. They're really well coached. They really are. Like, they're not the most talented team. I'm not making that case. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that I think Daniel Jones is the future. I don't. Okay, I think Daniel Jones is largely an irrelevant quarterback. But you know what? They just keep winning. They just keep winning games. And I look at them and I'm like, look, I know they're all one score, but their coaching staff is really good. They're not turning the ball over. They can run the hell out of the football with Barkley. And defensively, they're pretty good. I think it's because the addition of Wink Martindale, he's a really good coordinator. So all that said, I don't even know that I think the Giants win, but I'm taking them +3. Like, I think it's a really look. Every game they play is one score the whole year.
You're right.
I'm taking them to cover. I'm taking them to cover a +3. I know you shake your head. Go ahead. Explain to everybody why after this you're going to look like a dope. Go ahead.
So for a lot of the same reasons why I bet against the Titans every single week. I'm married to the stats, so I'll go down with the ship when it comes to the statistics, because this Giants team, it's insane that they're 6-1. I'll just list off a few stats here. 27th in net yards per play, 28th in yards per pass, 32nd in opponent yards per carry. They have the worst run defense in the NFL, so go ahead and pound those Kenneth Walker over prop bets. 20th in points per play, 29th in DVOA, 25th in net EPA. This team sucks. I don't know how they keep winning games. They're obviously, yes, it's coaching. They aren't shooting themselves in the foot, but these kinds of performances with these stats aren't sustainable. At some point, you're going to start losing games. You're just gonna.
You don't know nothing about nothing.
I think the Seahawks win this game big. I think they run the ball on them. They're second in the NFL in yards per carry. As I mentioned, Giants can't stop the run. I think they're just going to pound the ball down the Giants' throat. I will take the Seahawks to win handedly.
All right, so let's spin this forward for a second. Do you think Seattle's the best team in the NFC West?
No.
Okay, I don't either, but I'm just curious. Do you think Seattle's a playoff team?
Yes.
I think they might be. When you look at the NFC, you got I think, even though your hatred of the Giants is overwhelming, I think you're gonna get 3 teams in the NFC East to make the playoffs. You don't look. I hear you with the stats. I get it. Like, I obviously do not think they're a 6-1 quality team, but you don't think that team's winning 3 more games this year? Because that's doing it, man. In the NFC,
yeah, I guess you're right.
That's doing it. Like, they still have the Texans. They have the Lions. Like, dude, they're making the playoffs. They got Indianapolis. They got Washington twice. They're absolutely winning 3 more games, man. Like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, of course I'm right. So you got like the three teams in the NFC East. You've got the Vikings, who I also think are somewhat fraudulent, but like, who's beating them out in that division? Is it the Packers?
No, Vikings.
It ain't nobody else, man.
Yeah, Vikings win that. Yeah, so 2 teams in the NFC East, and then the Seahawks and the 49ers, I guess.
The Niners, right? Like, yeah, and then whoever the hell wins the South, which I've assumed was the Bucs all year long, but now all of a sudden the Dirty Birds potentially coming. Yeah, that's right. By the way, speaking of stealing playoff slots, here is a real quick left turn.
Devils are a legitimately good hockey team.
Just an absolute, just a dominant performance. It's unbelievable.
They shut out the defending champs.
The first 2 games, I was ready to fire Lindy Ruff and get rid of everyone involved because they looked absolutely brutal in terms of their positioning. Since then, they are beating the hell out of everybody they're playing. It's even like, look, they didn't beat the hell out of the Avalanche. I don't want to go that far, but like deserved to win the game, like legitimately outplayed them. I don't know what's happening anymore. But all of a sudden, like guys like Siegenthaler, who people are like, who? Like just unbelievable on his own end of the ice. John Marino looking like a Norris Trophy winner. We're in good shape. So playing Columbus here actually in about 24 minutes. Go Devs. All right. Let's keep going before people turn off the show. So although this may not help us, Indianapolis home to Washington in a game that is offensive to all senses. I'm going to give you – I don't even care about this. This game is awful. Indy laying a field goal, totals 39.5. Like, I'm just going to – I'll just say my bet because I can't even break down this game in good conscience. I'm taking Washington on the money line. Both these teams suck. Okay? Sam Ellinger, like we're supposed to believe – I love the campaign all week now. Like, do you know how bad you've got to be to bench Matt Ryan, who's got $35 million left on his contract next year?
He's been terrible.
You're going to, and I get, dude, he has been terrible. But like, and I'm not like, I honestly don't care one way or the other about Matt Ryan, but like, you're going to bench Matt Ryan for Sam Ellinger, who's a 6th-round pick from a year ago. Oh, the Colts, like, yeah, he's really showing something in the film. He better, because you got $35 million in him next year, in Ryan, that is. Ellinger is a 6th-round pick who, like, I don't know, wasn't even good at Texas. And now you're going to go and you're going to throw him in here. I guess one thing Washington can do, they have a good front, and you can't block anybody. And you're going to put Ellinger in this game. Like, I'm not caping for Ryan here. Let's be honest. They can't block. Michael Pittman's the only guy worth a damn in this offense because they haven't run for crap all year long. Like, at what point do we start looking at coach and GM here and say, hey, Frank Wright, like, hey, Chris Ballard, maybe it's time for you guys to answer a few tough questions. Because everybody acts like Chris Ballard is one of the best GMs in football. I'm sorry. What has he ever done that makes him one of the best GMs in football? That team is BS year in and year out. And everybody's like, well, you know, it's because Andrew Luck retired. He retired 5 years ago.
Right.
Like, how long is the grace period? A decade? I mean, at what point are you going to invest in a quarterback? I don't get this whole idea that somehow they're this really well-run team. They're not. They're not well-run. They always have cap space. They never bring in high-end free agents. They've been sticking this thing together for years with guys like T.Y. Hilton at the end of his career. I mean, you ever plan on actually building a roster? Yeah, give me Washington straight up in this game. And by the way, I don't think Washington's any good, and I'm still taking Washington straight up in this game.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go the Colts here, though. I will say one thing:
win the Super Bowl.
That ticket's dead.
That hurts.
Yeah. And Matt Ryan, dark horse MVP bet. Benched.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Colts have really broken my heart, and my other survivor pool, they made me lose that too. So I keep losing on the Colts, but I'll bet on them here. Matt Ryan is so bad, and a big reason why he's been so bad. You mentioned their offensive line can't block. Matt Ryan might be one of the least mobile quarterbacks of all time. So I'm thinking with Sam Ellinger in, at least maybe he can move around the pocket and create space himself a little bit, because that is something Matt Ryan certainly cannot do. But yeah, I don't know. I think outside of the quarterback situation, I think the Colts are a better team than the Commanders. I think they're better defensively. They can stop the run. Washington ran the ball over 50% of their plays with Heineke quarterback last week. And now they're going up against the Colts, who have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So if I'm taking the quarterback out of it, and if I am thinking about quarterback, I think Sam Ellinger might be better, at least not a better quarterback, but at least better for them with his mobility. Then the rest of if you look at the rest of the rosters, the Colts are better. So I guess I'll lay the points with the Colts. This game stinks, though. I don't want to watch this game. Yeah,
it's not good. It's not good. By the way, I appreciate Mighty Sphinx in the chat saying Stacking the Rink podcast. Let's go. Hey, we could just go skating the rink. There's a lot of ways we could do this. Listen, I'm here for at some point. I'm going to hold a devil's space on Twitter, and I don't care if 8 people join. We're going to get into it. I can't wait. I love it. All right. 425, the last of the 425s, and I think the most interesting, although Seattle and the Giants actually does have a case. The Rams at home, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Rams now -1. It was 1.5 all week for the Niners, and then the Niners, half their team's out. Debo's out. Juszczyk is out. Armstead's out. Totals 41.5 at SoFi. Now, let me just say one thing quick, then we'll get into our bets. Like, I believe that the Niners are a very good team. I think the Niners could end up repping the NFC in the Super Bowl. I really do. You got to win this game for the 49ers here. Like, you're 3-4. At some point, you got to win football games. Like, you have to win football games for me to sit here and be able to defend you. The Rams, on the flip side, and Mighty makes another good point, says Rams, quote unquote, at home. Yes, this will be sounding like a Niners home game. The Rams are 3-3 coming off a bye. Their next two games, obviously including this one, are the 49ers and the Bucs. Now, the Bucs are an absolute mess. The Niners are beat up but talented. One thing about both the Niners and the Bucs, though, is they can get after your quarterback if you can't block. Now, with Barrett being out, that's a huge, huge deal for Tampa, and it changes their whole defense. But if you're the Rams and you have belief, like, I want to see it out of the Rams here. I want to see the Rams step up out of their bye. They've been miserable this year. Well, here's your opportunity to show me something, because the Rams coming out of the bye, I'll tell you what, man, it is not easy. Here's their schedule going forward. Home to the Niners, at Tampa, home to the Cardinals, at the Saints, at the Chiefs, home to Seattle, home to the Raiders, at Green Bay, home to Denver on Christmas, at the Chargers in a game that's essentially neutral field on New Year's Day, at Seattle. I mean, the only teams in there that you'd be like, those teams have no shot at making the playoffs are Denver. I think is a fair commentary. And then could you even say the Saints with the way that division is? I don't know. All those games are interesting. Like, there's not one game in there other than, again, if they lose to Denver, they should give up. But everybody else, I mean, that should be there's not one layup to be had there. So the Rams are going to have to earn it. 3-3. Where do you fall with Debo and everybody else banged up for the Niners? Where do you fall in this game?
Yeah, I'm still going to go with the 49ers just because, I mean, we already saw this game happen a few weeks ago. The 49ers handled them pretty easily, and it wasn't even just a final score thing. If you look at the stats, they outgained them 6.7 yards per play to 3.5 yards per play. They sacked them 7 times for 54 yards. The Rams are not the same Rams from last year. Their offensive line is completely banged up. They can't protect Matt Stafford. They can't run the ball. 28th in yards per play. I have no interest in betting on the Rams against this defense. I don't care who's starting on either side. I don't care who's hurt. I'm off the Rams until they prove otherwise.
100% with you. 100% with you. I'm taking the Niners as well. Laying the 1.5. I don't like the Debo's out. That concerns me. At the same point here, like, the Niners just kill the Rams every time they play them. Apparently, except the NFC title game, where even that game they're up by 10 in the fourth quarter, and then they choked like dogs. The Rams just do not match up with them. Every single time the Niners play the Rams, and it's McVay and Shanahan. Shanahan just stitches a clown suit on McVay. Does it every single game. And as Mighty pointed out, it is going to sound like a home game for the Niners. I mean, out of the 60,000 people or whatever it is that'll be there, 2/3 will be Niners fans. So I'm riding with the Niners. Garoppolo always scares me, but I got to tell you, man, Stafford scares me every bit as much this year. He's thrown more picks and touchdowns. He's been awful. And I just think this game comes down to one thing with the Niners I always respect. Even without Armstead there, they can get after the quarterback. That team can rush the passer, and the Rams just cannot block. They can't block anybody, ever. So I'm going to take the Niners. I am with you. I think they find a way to win this game. I think they win by a touchdown, something like that. So huge game for both teams, though. It really is important, because if the Niners lose, they're 3-5. If the Rams lose, the Niners are a half game ahead of them, but they've won the season series. They've swept them. So big, and as I pointed out, the Rams schedule not easy. Let's get into Sunday night football. Buffalo at home, off a bye, prime time against RELAX, Aaron Rodgers. As I screw up reading relax, I get dope. So the Bills laying 10.5, the biggest spread ever, going against Rodgers. The total is 46.5. The weather should not be bad. Very light wind. Overcast, but no rain in the forecast over at Highmark Stadium. I got to tell you, I went back and forth on this game because I think there are 2 scenarios for this football game, and I think there are only 2. The Packers say, you know what, guys? It's time to really give it everything we've got. It's time to buckle down, stop the silly mistakes, play our best football, really show who we are. Because if we don't, we're going to get our asses kicked tonight. So we got to show up and we got to give it everything we have and be laser focused. I think the other scenario is the Packers absolutely can't stand their quarterback right now, who can't stop throwing everybody under the bus. I think there's a scenario where the weapons simply just are not good and they can be as motivated as they want. It doesn't matter. I think there's a scenario where the Packers defense just can't get out of their soft zone nonsense and the Bills win this game by 30 points. So which scenario are you riding with? One, or A, where the Packers show up and play their best game of the year, or one of them, or B, the Bills go in there and do things to the Packers that should be put behind a paywall? Where are you going?
Yeah, I think Packers show up tonight, and I've mentioned it a couple times on this show now. For me to lay double-digit points, I need the team that's on the bad end of that to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Packers aren't. They've lost 3 straight games, 3 games they should have won. But statistically, they aren't a bad team. They're not good, but they're average. 17th in yards per play, 12th in opponent yards per play. They aren't bad enough for me to lay 10.5 points against them, even with the Buffalo Bills, who are clearly the best team in the NFL, it looks like. And also, the Packers do have a couple bright spots on defense, specifically. 3rd in opponent third down conversion rate, so they have a great third down defense. 6th in opponent red zone touchdown scoring percentage, 9th in sack percentage. So there's some bright spots on this defense. So I'm trying not to overreact to the results from the last few weeks. I think they can at least keep it close here. I'll take the 10.5 points of the Packers.
All right, I'm taking option B. And I'm going to say the Bills win this game by 30 points. I really do, man. And I see Mike Conley. Packers are going to run the board. Good for you. Good for you, Mike Conley. That's the way to have some conviction. I saw he also picked this game 42-10 Packers. If that happens, sir, we're having you on the podcast next week. I respect it, though. I just can't get there, man. I looked at this number and said, man, this is a classic spot to take a team like the Packers in. 10.5, back-to-back MVP quarterback, the whole deal. I can't get there. I cannot get there. The Packers have lost 3 games in a row to Daniel Jones, to Taylor Heineke, and to Zach Wilson. I mean, it scares the hell out of me. Now you're going to play a team on the road who I think is the most explosive team in football. Maybe not even, you want to say Philly's the best right now, they're undefeated, that's fine. I think Buffalo is probably the team that's the best in football right now, though I give Philly their props. The Chiefs are right there, but Buffalo beat the Chiefs. Buffalo's got the better case. This could be one of these games where the Bills just absolutely lay it on them. I mean, the Packers, they couldn't stop the Jets at times. I'm terrified of this game for the Packers. I also think, my God, man, off a bye, the Bills, the Bills are going to be in one of these modes where can the Packers block? I mean, their offensive line's been terrible. I'm going actually the other way on our guy Mike Conn. I'm going to say this game is 42-17. Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to kill them. I actually hope I'm wrong because I'd like to see a good game on Sunday night. But I think this is one of these games where the second half we're getting a lot of close shots, lingering of Rodgers on the sideline as Jordan Love's in the game, and we're getting a whole lot of Collinsworth going, Mike, I don't know, Mike. Yeah, they got to figure things out. That man right there is won multiple MVPs, and I believe in him. But at the same point, it's not good, Mike. It's not good. I think that's where we're headed tonight. I think that's where we're headed. Bad impression on all of Collinsworth. All right. Let's go to the Monday night game. Battle of Ohio, which will not feature Jamar Chase, which is disappointing as he is on the shelf with a hip injury, 4 to 6 weeks. Cleveland at home against the Bengals. Cleveland, if you have any faith in them at all, it's a must-win game at 2-5. I do not. I think Cleveland is done. The Bengals are minus 178 on the money line, laying 3.5 points. Total is 45.5. Rain is in the forecast. You and I are on opposite sides of this. Which way are you headed?
Yeah, I'm going to take the points with the Browns here. I don't know. I hate this game. This is my least favorite game in terms of betting on it because I can't.
Deep-seated hatred of Ohio.
What's that?
A deep-seated hatred of Ohio.
Yes. Yeah. I think the spread's right. I think the total is right. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this Bengals team either, because they look like crap at the start of the year, and now all of a sudden they look like the team that went to the Super Bowl last year. So I don't know. I'm going to take the points with the Browns. I don't.
All right.
I don't know.
The Bengals are the best team in the AFC, not named Kansas City or Buffalo. That's where I'm going to go with this.
Just like that?
Who's better than them? I mean, again, taking out Kansas City and Buffalo, who's better than them in that conference?
Baltimore just beat them.
I don't care. Baltimore has. I'm talking come playoff time. You think Baltimore's winning in the playoffs?
No.
Neither do I. You know why? Because every time I turn on Baltimore, they got to win one way, and if they can't do it, they're done. Game's over. Every game, it's Lamar has to do everything. And then they've got to rush for like 200 yards. And if they can't do that, it's like, oh, God, we better hope Mark Andrews gets open or it's over because nobody else is doing it. I believe in Burrow in that offense a lot more than I believe in Baltimore. I'm taking the Bengals, 3.5. By the way, in case you're wondering, you better damn well believe we got a Broncos country let's ride right after the game out of Russ. Oh. So, oh, my God, that plane ride is going to be unbelievable. Do the Broncos charter? Do they just take commercial flights back so they don't have to be on the plane with him?
I would have on the team.
I have nothing to add to this game, by the way. Cincinnati should win this game. Cleveland stinks. There's my dynamite analysis. I know they don't have Jamar Chase. Like, I could see this being fairly close. It's a divisional game. Brissett's actually played halfway decent. The problem with Jacoby Brissett is you never get anything deep down the field, ever. Everything's dink and dunk. They're going to have to run the ball. Like, I think they're in the game. I don't think it's a blowout. I think it's like 27-20, something like that. I think it's a reasonable game. It's competitive. The Browns just are not good. They're not a good team. Now, when Watson comes back, maybe they're better. He's going to have a lot of rust to knock off, but maybe they're better. I think they're done by the time they get to when Watson's back. But yeah, Russell Wilson, let's ride. And I look forward to the stories coming out of that plane ride. As he's doing high knees. He's probably got enough energy now for, I don't know, what, 8 hours worth of high knees? It should be good. I'm sure, sure there's going to be some stories out of it. All right. Let's close with this since we got done a little bit early here because these games, let's just call it what it is. These games stink. What is the line this week you were most surprised by? Was there a line that stood out to you that you said, that line really, I don't like that line. It's not where I would have put it.
I think it might be the Bills and the Packers. I mean, I think the Bills are obviously the best team in the league, but 10.5 points is an insane spread. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about the back-to-back MVP. I know he has.
You got the Collinsworth lines down already. By the way, I love Chris Collinsworth, but I just have making fun of him. What do you think the line should be? What do you think the line should be?
7.5.
Okay. So I actually think Vegas did a really good job with the lines this week. I don't have any huge issues. I think the Dallas line is high. I know you took Chicago 10. Like, Dallas can't score. I'm not saying they shouldn't be favored by a significant amount. I actually think it should be. We're both going actually the same total, or excuse me, the same line to the same line. I think it should go from 10.5 to 7.5. I mean, the Bears, to their credit, are 3-4. And look, the Bears, one thing about them, they're good defensively. The Bears actually can play on defense.
Yeah.
I was surprised that the line was that high. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. Look, check out Ian's work over at BetSide. You can check that out, fanside.com/BetSide. And, of course, you can follow him at Iain MacBets on Twitter, where there's always stuff going on. Listen, and listen, you got to be that guy here. If the Giants win the game today, and nobody's trolling him on Twitter, it's a failure by all you people, okay? Somebody's got to go. They're good-natured, nothing heinous, but good-natured. And, of course, you can follow me at Matt Verderame on Twitter. Also, you can find my work at fansided.com. Make sure to check out Fansided and BetSided. And also, we'll be back next Sunday in November. The calendar's turning. I am excited for it, but before that, I got a Halloween tomorrow. I got to take my daughters out, one of which is 7 months old and couldn't care any less. The other one is 5 years old and is very much excited to go get enough candy to be on a sugar rush for a month. So looking forward to it. But hey, everybody, thank you for watching Stacking the Box this morning and our NFL Week 8 Best Bets with BetSided. I am Matt Verderame. He is Iain MacMillan. Good luck to your team this weekend. and we will see how it all shakes. Mighty says he'll troll me if Seattle wins. You should. It's the right thing to do. Come after me. Call me a monster. I don't care. Look, week 8, enjoy it. Go up to your teams.